there was also the question of the absence of somebody like a Mia Fishel. And we talked about Mia Fishel a little bit during the wish list episode on A3 and what that could mean and what this looks like in 2023 as the U.S. women's national team is sort of turning this page and kind of really getting the focal point on the World Cup. It's like literally World Cup or nothing moving forward this year. So I know you and I were both curious about that, and Andonovski in the press conference was again asked about this, and I thought it was important because I think you're looking at players who you might have to have conversations with their domestic club to get them involved in camps and what that's going there. And he reiterated, he's been asked about this. I think it feels like endless times already when it comes to Mia Fishel, but she's someone that has been doing quite well. Yeah, shout out to Celeste. I see you. Yeah, I agree. Mia should have been called up a while ago. I think I'm looking at this and just sort of what you hear coming out of the press conferences, and then sort of looking at the players' performances. You just sort of feels like a little bit of a disconnect. But Andonovski is adamant that they're still keeping tabs on a player like Fishel, and that conversations are still being had. I just sort of feel like with this current timeline, and Lisa, this is something that you and I chatted about in that previous episode on the wish list, was with there being now 6 months building up to the World Cup, that maybe the combination of the timeline or the timing ahead of the World Cup is we're possibly not going to see a Mia Fishel in these women's national team camps. And that absolutely, like, it kind of blows my mind. I don't know how you look at a player like Mia Fishel and sort of see the 2022 campaign that she put together. She was the global leading goal scorer. And then sort of have the argument that you're just sort of keeping conversations and sort of keeping tabs on her performances. And, we saw a very young player in Alyssa Thompson get called into national team camps towards the end of the 2022 season. And these weren't just any regular national team camps. We're talking about getting invited to go to Europe and go again and get a look at top tier competition. So it's there's a disconnect for me, I think, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for Mia Fishel to eventually make her national team debut. But obviously, as the months go by, as the week goes by, I'm getting more and more deterred by that, and that we'll see it before a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said that perfectly, because we are now 5 months out, right? We were having these conversations, you and I, on Attacking Third, the media with Vlatko Andonovski, apparently Vlatko Andonovski with Mia Fishel, from what he says, months ago about her performance in Mexico and what she's been able to do in that domestic league, and how she's been able to perform at a very high level, scoring goals at an incredible clip, and staying consistent. Well, you and I have been talking about it. Everyone's been talking about it from what I can see. And the fact that we are now 5 months out from the World Cup and she's still not in these conversations, I guess, enough with Vlatko Andonovski, or not in the front of his mind enough to be called in to get looks, whether it was in October, whether it was in November, and now it didn't happen in January. And at this point, if I'm forgetting about the individual names and the individual players, and I'm just looking at my team, my nation going to a World Cup tournament, I don't want there to be so many drastic changes within 3 months of the World Cup, within 4 months of the World Cup. I don't. Whether that's big players coming back from injury that just haven't been playing enough, whether it's new players getting integrated in, that's something that the closer we get to the World Cup, the harder it is to shake it up. He had those opportunities to bring in Mia Fishel, and he did not do that. Vlatko Andonovski did not do that. She's an incredible player. I think she could make a difference on this team. I think that she would contribute, and it would be incredible to watch her play in the front line alongside someone like a Sophia Smith or a Mallory Pugh, even an Alex Morgan. Like, I think that would be really beneficial for the United States, but it didn't happen. And I don't foresee it happening. Vlatko Andonovski kind of alluded to that as well, that the roster that we're getting right now is probably going to stay consistent moving forward, barring some of the injured players that are missing from this roster or working their way back consistently. I'm hoping that as soon as the World Cup is done in the end of August, Mia Fishel is right to the top of the conversation, right to the top of the list, and she can get in on next year and what can happen in the fall and everything that's to come for this team. It's a little crazy to think about how much she has been able to do and why she still hasn't been called up to a camp just to get a look, just to see what's out there.
Yeah, no, it's you look at players and how they sort of navigate their careers and where those seasons eventually lead them to. We're talking about a player pool that has seen players split time, whether it's between NWSL
Mhm.
or clubs in Europe, whether it's been women's Super League teams or French Division One teams, and that you have players in this larger pool that are no strangers to that, right? Having spent time in different areas of the globe, pursuing their playing options, and it's just yeah, Liga MX Femenil is it a young league and young up and coming league still? Yeah, sure. But I don't think that negates all of the things and development that Mia Fishel has achieved while playing for Liga MX Femenil. I mean, you're talking 33 goals. That's a massive amount of goals, and I'm just not convinced that if Mia Fishel is scoring 33 goals in Sweden or 33
Mhm.
goals in France, that she's not getting a call up to some of these camps, especially in a 2022 where there was constant conversation about injury and player rotations and players having to come in and out because of those injuries and or players who are out on maternity leave. So I think it's going to be one of those elephants in the room. I think that people will constantly keep talking about, right? Until they see a player like Fishel. But I'm with you in terms of the
Yeah,
timing of things, and that we might not see it before the World Cup, but who knows? Perhaps we'll see it
I
post World
know.
Cup.
Hey, you never know when we'll see it, if we'll see it.